G'day there guys, Michael here and welcome to my first video of 2024. Happy New Year and thank you for tuning in. Now I just wanted to get this one out quickly so you guys know that I'm not dead and don't send out the search party without giving you a sob story. I obviously broke my finger last year and we are 7 months in and I've got to wear this for 3 more weeks. It's been a pretty rough recovery, including getting it reset multiple times because it's just not healing like I wanted it. And that's put a real spanner in the works for guitar teaching and videos and recording and things like that, as well as going through a separation, moving house and renovations at the studio, both studios actually. So while things have been going good, they've also been crazy busy. So that's why the recording schedule has been somewhat interrupted, but no excuses. If you've seen me, I've been pretty active on Instagram with the shorts. I'm gonna make sure I post those shorts here on YouTube, and then I get back to these long form videos because I want to basically help you guys out as much as I can. So I'll be doing some beginner guitar content and I'll be doing some intermediate and advanced level content because I just want to help everyone. But today's topic is going to be all about muting, more particularly thumb muting and using your thumb instead of your palm as traditionally. So we're going to start off with a beginner guitar tip, which will be helpful for beginners and anyone who plays acoustic guitar and does a lot of strumming. So it's not necessarily beginner only, but it's going to help out everyone. And then later after that, we'll dive into a few thumb muting ideas for lead guitar playing. So that's going to be extremely beneficial for anyone who's in that intermediate phase and or advanced players who really want to tidy up their playing and be able to shred up a storm without all the excess string noise. But without any further ado, let's dive into the first topic here. So traditionally when you're strumming and changing chords, what's happening is you're using this part of your palm to mute the strings. And in songs like Summer of '69, it makes sense because we want to have our palm down while we're strumming for that nice chunky sound. But if we're doing like a slower strum pattern like this, it can be really cumbersome strumming, pivoting our hand, doing this really awkward flip motion and pulling the pick away from the strings in order to mute, and then having to go back to that string really quickly. And it really does just muck us up trying to do a movement that takes us away when we have to half a second later be back there. So what I propose is that instead of palm muting like this, you actually use the side of your thumb. So if I'm doing a strum pattern that goes down, down, up, mute, up, down, up, mute, up, down, up, where my palm would go away from the guitar, then have to come up for a quick up, down, up. What I'm proposing is that you get this part of your thumb and you place it flat across the strings like that. Down, down, up, mute with the thumb, and then it's nice and easy to go up, down, down, up, mute, up, down, up, mute, up, down, up. So if I show you that in context of a chord, makes it so much easier because we don't have to move the hand back in order to strum up, or even worse, be on the wrong side of the strings to strum down. So that's something you may have to work in your playing. I've never had a teacher explain that to me or come across it in any other lesson in various formats. It's just something I started to do myself, and something that's really, really helpful and has been helpful in my playing. So if you're a beginner, rather than try and mute with that part of your hand, I highly recommend trying your thumb. It works especially well if you've got an upstroke coming up next. So are there going to be instances where it still makes sense to use your palm? Definitely, and especially if you're doing like that. If you've got to actively be muting while strumming, you can't really do that there, unless you're doing like reggae music, which is particularly helpful. And some funk music can be really helpful, but most of your basic strum patterns, if you've got a mute being followed by an eighth note on an offbeat, the thumb is the way to go instead of the palm. So now I've got the electric guitar out. I'm going to go through the second instance of thumb muting, and that is when we're using the bending technique. So a lot of the time, particularly when you're a beginner, you just bend and you hope for the best, and there's tons of extra noise, all that kind of yucky stuff like that. What I highly recommend is that when you're bending, so if I'm going to bend string number 2, fret number 15, I'm going to place my thumb on strings 3, 4, 5, and even 6. So you can see from side on, I'm trying to get that as close as I can for you there, and we'll do a bit of a zoom when we get a chance. But what's going to happen is I'm going to rest my thumb on those strings that I'm not playing, and I can get my second finger and I can rest it above the string that I'm playing, above or below, you know what I mean. But I can pick, and it doesn't matter what I do. If I do this, you can hear that engages all the other strings just by passively touching them there. And even if I've got a little bit of palm muting, there's all that yucky kind of sound comes through. But if I rest my fingers like that and mute out the strings I'm not bending, it really does tidy it up. And it makes it nice and easy to get that sustain ringing out without all those other noises creeping in. So you can hear when I do that, I get unwanted background noise if I'm muting the strings either side of the one I'm picking, one with my middle finger below and above on those thicker strings. You can hear how much cleaner that is. If I'm bending on string 1, I just use my thumb to mute strings 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And even legato kind of things, I'm using my thumb to do those muting things there. Yeah. Didn't really practice any legato here, I'm just spontaneously adding this in, but so I'm literally just using my thumb to mute the strings I don't want to have played there. Now I can do that with a palm mute, but it's going to mute the string that I want and choke those sounds out there. So it's, again, I didn't prepare a line for you, I probably should have. It just literally spontaneously came to me in the video there, which is probably going to tie into the next part. So that bending is the second use of thumb muting there. That's going to really allow you to tidy things up. So add that into your playing, and when you're ready, we'll go into part number 3 where I show you how to apply thumb muting to your single note playing. So part number 3 of this lesson with our thumb muting is to use your thumb to mute below the strings you're playing with a scale. So let's just say I'm playing the top of the E minor scale pattern. I'm going fret 11, 12, and 14 on string number 3. So I want to have my thumb resting on strings 4, 5, and 6 and blocking that out like this. So I can pick. What I really need is a helper to come up and basically flick these strings, because there might be a little bit of noise, but it's not going to be these big open string sounds. I've got my thumb muting all the strings below the ones I'm playing. Now if I go to fret number 12 on string number 2, my thumb, it moves down to the next string and starts muting string 3. If I go 11, 12, 14, 12, 13, 15, 12, 14, 15, what's happening is my thumb moves down to the next string. So I'm doing economy picking, directional picking, efficiency picking, whatever you want to call it. I'm going down, up, and as I sweep down to the next string, my thumb comes across and it blocks it out as I move to the next string. So I've integrated a muting technique in with my picking technique so that I've got the tidiest playing possible. There's no extra string noises, there's nothing ringing out. And I can even, put my second finger, which is going to be a bit awkward for me with the other broken finger, but I can have that gripping the one above what I'm playing and making sure that if I do accidentally hit it, it's going to choke it out straight away and make it nice and clean. So whether I'm legatoing, which is where I could go, basically using my thumb and my second finger either side of the string that I'm picking, so that it's not ringing out. And if I'm doing like a sweep example, my thumb is moving across all those strings and muting the one that I've just played. So as I go, partly the note stops because it's not ringing out anymore, but it's also being muted by my thumb going across the strings and muting. Anyway, that's a little guide to thumb muting. It's something that I didn't integrate into my technique until I'd been playing for roughly 10 years. So I was always a palm muter before that. Do I still use palm muting? Definitely. If I'm playing rhythm guitar and power chords, that is 100% palm muting. I'm not trying to get around that. Palm muting is a tool that I use for rhythm guitar, particularly rock and heavy metal, and chord strumming when I'm going nice and slow and I want to add a bit more oomph. But when I'm using lead playing, bending, legato, I'm using this thumb muting technique pretty much exclusively. It's now part of my playing, something I highly recommend, and I train all my in-person shredder students and advancing players, is to incorporate that thumb muting. It'll polish your playing up, it'll make everything sound better, and while it'll feel really awkward in the beginning, you might have to go backwards a little bit as well over the next couple of weeks. If you integrate it, you will not regret it. Anyway, that's it for me. I hope to see way more of you in 2024. If you found it helpful, please like and subscribe, because I really want to get this channel to 2,000 subscribers. That's, I think, like 160 people more I need at the time of this recording. So thank you for watching. Thank you for giving me the time of day. If you want to chat with me, follow me over at Instagram at Michael Gumley, and we've got plenty of cool stuff planned for you. I also have a 10-week total guitar transformation program coming up at the end of February. So if you're interested, doesn't matter where in the world you are, it's a hybrid between a course and live training, guitar lesson, feedback on your playing. It's a really, really cool program. If you're interested in that, check the link in the description. And of course, if you're a beginner guitar player, my beginner guitar courses are totally free as well. So you can find those in the description or the first comment, wherever I place it there. Thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next video.